Ho ho ho, my god, hey! Wait, this isn't a festive show. You know what? It kind of is. Some people like Christmas pudding in December, some people like a panettone, and others like a little bit of Shakespeare. Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my stagey YouTube channel. If you're meeting me for the first time, hello! My name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. And this is my stagey YouTube channel where, among other things, I make videos reviewing shows that I have been invited to see here in the UK. And today we are going to be talking about a little bit of Shakespeare. I believe for the first time on my YouTube channel. Now, I am no stranger to Shakespeare. I have been reading and seeing Shakespeare plays since I was an incredibly obnoxious 11-year-old who insisted on reading Julius Caesar and was convinced that there were significant gay undertones. I still am, by the way, because there are. There were, and there are. But last week, I was invited to go and see As You Like It. No, let's try that again. I was invited to go and see As You Like It at the newest purpose-built West End theatre in London, at Soho Place. This is only the second full production to be running at this venue. It was my first time visiting the new space. I was so excited. It's a theatre entirely in the round. It's been built with modern audience requirements in mind. You've got great legroom, you've got great access, you've got step-free access to every level of the auditorium, you have great sight lines. It's really technologically exciting. It's a really thrilling new venue. It's very sleek, very modern, very stylish. I was so excited and very excited to go and see this show as well, because there is something festive about a lot of Shakespeare, particularly one that is as fun and light and charming as You Like It. Now, I have seen this play once before. I saw a production previously starring Rosalie Craig in the Olivier Auditorium of the National Theatre back in, I want to say 2014, something like that. But that was in a very different space with a very different cast and very different ideas. So I was really excited to revisit this in a new way. So I'm going to be telling you all about this production today. But before I do, if you enjoyed today's video and you would like to watch more of my review videos, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post new content all the time because I'm invited to like 4 or 5 new shows every week. And if you would like to read some of my reviews, you can click on the link down below to sign up for an account with ShowScore. ShowScore is an amazing website that collates all of my reviews onto one writer profile, so you can read reviews that I've written for my own blog, for whatsonstage.com, and for Broadway World UK as well. I get around. Not only that, you can use ShowScore as a site to write reviews of your own. So if you have been to see some of the shows that I'm talking about in my videos or any shows that took place this year in London, you can review them on ShowScore. And right now, if you play ShowScore's 2022 year in review and share it to your social media, you also get entered for a chance to win a £365 or $365 theatre token, courtesy of ShowScore and TodayTix. How cool is that? Click on the link and then honestly come back and watch my video later. I'll understand, because that's much more exciting. Now, let's talk about As You Like It at Soho Place. So this being a Shakespeare play, it has a multi-layered plot with very developed characters and political undertones and backstory and depth, and I'm going to attempt to give you just a very brief layman's overview and butcher the entire thing. So your two main protagonists of this story, you have Rosalind and her cousin Celia. They, fairly early on in the plot, escape. They flee from the court, which has been usurped. The court used to be presided over by the Duke, Rosalind's father, and it has now been usurped by his brother, Celia's father. He's super corrupt. He's not a nice dude. They flee away into the Forest of Arden, where they are eventually pursued. Everyone ends up in the forest. It's a whole thing. Once inside the forest, there is a whole lot less to do with politics. We are mostly concerned with affairs of love and romance. And that's generally the theme of As You Like It. It's one of the less politically minded or historically minded of Shakespeare's plays. This is a comedy, and this is all about love and the reciprocity of love and power balance between the sexes as well, but in a more playful way than something like The Taming of the Shrew that addresses that more aggressively. Because while in the Forest of Arden, Rosalind disguises herself as a man, where she comes upon Orlando, who she had met already. Orlando has already fallen in love with her as a woman, and of course, being a clueless man, does not recognize her dressed in a slight disguise as a man. So as a man, Rosalind teaches Orlando how to love her Rosalind as a woman who he doesn't know her to currently be. Did I get that right? I think I did. I hope I did. Obviously, Celia also encounters a suitor, and obviously a poor unsuspecting woman falls in love with Rosalind while Rosalind is dressed with a man, because she mistakes Rosalind for an actual man, even though she has a suitor of her own who wants to marry her. It's all very involved. You get the idea. As You Like It is perhaps best known for containing the famous line, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players," which is actually a reasonably depressing speech in context. But the whole thing ends very happily. And like I said, it's all about love, and you have some fairly endearing characters, and it's all taking place in the Forest of Arden. It's mystical, and it's magical, and it's romantic, and it's a lot more positive and uplifting. It's exactly the kind of Shakespeare that you might want to go and see at Christmas. I'm not suggesting it's particularly festive to go and see a Richard II or a Richard III or a Macbeth. Can I say Macbeth on YouTube? Well, I've said it now. Twice. But As You Like It is a lovely highbrow cultural festive alternative that's also very accessible, but I will tell you more about that in the next section. So I thought this was quite lovely, actually. I thought it was really magical and just subtle. It wasn't this hard-hitting, super impactful, transformative play. It was just nice, and it had lovely music and beautiful performances, and it had such utter charm to it. No one was doing this huge, intense Shakespearean monologue. It was all very laid back and relaxed and incredibly accessible. One of the most accessible Shakespeare performances I've ever been to. By that I mean, if you do not get on well with Shakespeare, if you find it difficult to understand, there are various things about this production that will make it a lot easier for you. So they use music an awful lot. At the very least, people who do not necessarily enjoy the dialogue of Shakespeare will have a lot to enjoy with all of the musical performances, and the way they use these are very charming and very whimsical. Not only that, there are 4 small screens above the dress circle level of the auditorium. You can see them from whatever seat you're in the venue, and they have a transcript running the entire time, transcribing the dialogue from the play. And if you're struggling to follow what's happening on stage, this can be really useful. Also because not all of the dialogue is actually spoken in the play, but I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. The visuals are very charming, the way they represent the seasons changing. The whole thing is staged in the round, and they enter through the 4 corners between the audience in the stalls. So there's not an awful lot they can do with set pieces and scenery without obstructing sightlines, so there's not too much of that, but it is a deceptively clever stage with the way they have this initial court and everyone attired in a very traditional Shakespearean way, and then we have this transformative moment where we all disappear into the forest and all of their dress changes, becomes a little bit more bohemian and contemporary, and the stage changes, and there's this big drop of leaves from above, and there are other little seasonal moments throughout. You have this piano that's on stage that lowers into the stage and then re-emerges covered in leaves, and the piano gets used throughout the show. This is one of my favourite little notes from director Josie Rourke. The piano and the pianist sat at it are perceived by the characters on stage, and he plays these love motifs, and this is known by the characters because they will encourage him to play on, or when someone doesn't want someone to fall in love with them, they will gesture to him to please stop, or they will react to him as if, why is this happening? Why is he playing a love song? And then look around and realise someone's staring at them lovingly. It's very clever, it's very funny, it's very self-aware in that way. But that's just the whole vibe of this production. It's not lofty, self-adulatory Shakespeare that looks down on its audience. It includes its audience. It wants you to understand. It wants you to laugh along and sing along and have this warm and wonderful time. Something about At Soho Place as a venue for Shakespeare reminds me so much of the Globe. Every Shakespeare play I have ever seen in the Globe is played slightly more for comedy and for laughs, and it's more of the people, and it's about this community within the space. And by staging this in the round, in a more intimate space, it really plays up to that idea. It feels like a more intimate version of the Globe. And so for all of the creative triumphs that I have just listed, I gave this production a 4-star review. This is a beautiful 4-star production of As You Like It. And a lot of that also has to do with the fantastic performances given by the cast. There are so many of them I want to talk about, and that is coming up in the next section. So it's often the way that many great actors are drawn to performing Shakespeare, and this cast is no exception. There are some lovely talents in this cast. I want to start by telling you all about Martha Plimpton. Martha Plimpton may be one of the biggest stars in this cast. I'm a huge fan of hers. She has done a lot of amazing work in American theatre, on American television, perhaps best known as a child actor on The Goonies. I saw her years ago at the Old Vic in a production of a play called Other Desert Cities, and in this she is playing Jacques, a role traditionally played by a man, and this melancholy fellow who wanders about the forest of Arden being depressed and delighting in the presence of fools and ludicrosity, and gets to deliver the famous line, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players," which Martha Plimpton does remarkably. I mean, the pathos that she puts into everything. And it would be very easy to play this depressive character with just gloominess and like a Shakespearean Eeyore, the donkey, the entire time, and just glumly and drably. But she does it in this self-aware way where her version of Jacques knows that she is filled with melancholia, but she's trying to put on a brave face for the benefit of everyone else. There's certainly a sadness there, but it's more of a concealed sadness. It's not worn on her sleeve the entire time. And for better or for worse, I think that plays very nicely because it makes the character less tiresome, both to the other characters on the stage and to you as an audience. I really enjoy her interpretation, and she's one of those actors that is just capable of excellent delivery. When she delivers that monologue following All the World's a Stage, it's a moment. It's a profound moment because she knows how to deliver those words with pathos while still giving everything such meaning. She helps you as an audience to understand what's being said, where the dialogue isn't necessarily completely accessible all of the time. You will understand the meaning of it because she articulates it with such meaning. She has such understanding of the words that she will connect you to it. She will translate it for you with her performance, and that's the perfect kind of Shakespearean actor as far as I'm concerned. And an American as well. Who knew? A triumph of the American theatre that an American actor can be trained so well to deliver Shakespeare so capably. Next, I want to tell you about Leah Harvey, who was playing Rosalind. So Leah is a non-binary actor who played Rosalind wonderfully, just so light-hearted, and so it was the moments where Rosalind was falling in love that I thought they were the most engaging and the most charming and just so completely endearing. The relationship that they were forging with Alfred Enoch's Orlando was so believable, and the pair were just both so dramatic, and the various different layers of falling in love and pretending not to be Rosalind, but pretending to fall in love because they were playing Rosalind. It was this whole hilarious, overly construed fabrication of a situation that just gave way to such delightful comedy. And I think it's always brilliant when anyone can perform Shakespeare with a modern comic sensibility, and that's exactly what Leah Harvey does in this show. They are so funny in such a contemporary way while delivering classic dialogue. So I've mentioned him already. Alfred Enoch was playing Orlando. So you may know Alfred Enoch from the Harry Potter films or the television series How to Get Away with Murder. I know him because I was sat next to him at a press night once. Very tall man, very tall. So he is playing Orlando, and he is one of these great Shakespearean young men who just becomes instantly, passionately in love, and it completely overwhelms him, and he is just ridiculous in this. It's hilarious, the level of clownishness that he brings to this romantic character. It would be very easy for him to just be dull in his romance in this kind of Romeo-esque. I mean, he's played Romeo very recently, but he has so much more fun with this role. He makes Orlando ridiculous and silly and profound and hopelessly overdramatic in his pursuit of Rosalind, which is wonderful, which is so much funnier. Another of my favourite performers from this production was Rose Ayling-Ellis, who was playing Celia. And Rose is one of the big reasons why this production felt so special. So if you don't know, Rose is a deaf British actress, perhaps best known for her role on, I believe, EastEnders, and she also won Strictly Come Dancing a few years ago. So she is playing the young heroine Celia here, so she delivers some of her lines vocally. Often this is in a begrudging way because a character is obliging her to say something. It's sort of clever how this is used. On other occasions, she delivers using sign language, and there's a great deal of sign language actually used by various characters in the play because Rose is not the only sign language user in this cast, interestingly enough. Other members of the cast are deaf or hard of hearing. It's actually very profound the way that this has been incorporated into the show. But she occasionally utilizes sign language to deliver lines, which are transcribed around the auditorium on those screens that I had mentioned before. And on other occasions, she just uses interpretive gestures, which can be very striking, very impactful, and also very funny, depending on how they are used and how they are intended, shall we say. But the enduring thing about her performance is how effortlessly endearing she is. It's really immense how much you connect with her as a character just because of her presence and your understanding of her feelings in all these situations. Almost more so than a lot of the other actors on stage, because you would have perhaps assumed that because her character isn't articulating her feelings about all of these situations, that you wouldn't necessarily be clued in on how she feels about all of these things. But if anything, you are clearer on her perspective on every single thing because she is so clear with her facial expression and with her body language and with her characterization. She's a wonderfully expressive performer who I would love to see do more and more theatre, because I think just the natural theatricality of her acting is wonderful. Absolutely one of the standout members of this cast and makes it a really lovely production by being involved. I loved her performance, really stayed with me. I could go on and talk about every other member of this cast. Tom Mison, who was playing Touchstone, had some wonderful and lovely moments. He was really funny. Tom Eden, who was playing both of the two Duke brothers that I mentioned before when I was describing the plot. He's fantastic, as of course he is. He doesn't have that many moments in the play, but he's Tom Eden, so he gets a few little scene-stealing deliveries here and there. And Ali Daniel steals plenty of scenes, steals just about every scene that she is in, and they make the very smart decision of letting her sing, and she riffs in Shakespeare. Aaron, my boyfriend, and I were dying when this happened because you can't react like it's a musical and someone riffs. You have to contain all of that because it's a Shakespeare. But amazing, stunning little vocals, but hilarious comedy delivery as well. She's a wonderful performer and she needs to be utilised more. Because the range of being such a scene stealer in as many musicals as I've seen Ali perform in, and then being this great in Shakespeare as well, it's amazing. Lastly, I want to talk about Michael Bruce. So Michael Bruce is the onstage pianist who I mentioned before, who is also credited in the programme as the composer of the beautiful music that you are hearing throughout the show. And he is present for almost all of it, I want to say, and he has to put up with an awful lot and really is acting alongside these other actors on stage. You know, he's quite muted because he is there ostensibly as a pianist, and they engage with him and they make him do stuff and they hide around him and they climb over him and they join him and they play other things on the piano, but he very much feels like an additional member of the cast, and he's very game for doing that. But he provides something so special with the accompaniment that he seems to have written for this production, and so I think deserves a tremendous amount of applause for that. So those have been my thoughts on As You Like It at Soho Place in the West End. I thought it was lovely. I thought it was charming. It's this perfect winter show that will leave you feeling inspired and uplifted. And like I said, if you've never seen Shakespeare before, perhaps if you're a musical theatre lover who has always been considering seeing Shakespeare, I think this is a fantastic one to start with. It has so many great comedy moments. None of it is too deep. It's not too long. It's not too many different acts. The dialogue is a lot lighter. It's a lot more accessible. And there are so many things about this production that will clue you in to have more of an understanding if you're concerned on that front. So give this one a go. Do yourself a favour. Go and see As You Like It and check out the new theatre at Soho Place. If you have been to see this production already, let me know what you thought of it in the comments section down below. I'll be so intrigued to hear your thoughts. And if you would like to write a review of your own, don't forget you can click on the link in the description and sign up for an account to ShowScore, where you can write a review of this production and share it with the various other users who will also have reviewed this production on that website. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my Stagey YouTube channel for plenty more videos coming soon about all your favourite shows. Maybe some more Shakespeare. Who knows? I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!